now watching Chad 76 Media.
We are on the launch of Yamaha's XSR900 GP. Josie, Neil, Mackenzie on a road that we don't have. Obviously you've got the cosmetics where it is designed to look like something from the 90s, early 90s, late 80s in MotoGP, but for me it's more of a road bike from that era, which is the FZ6, FZ750, TZR250, that era, which is my era. Question marks on social media were about the headlight. Some people love it, some people don't. Should it be round? Should it be square? But it is legal. The brakes have improved with the Brembo. So we've got Brembo up at the top here, and that's really improved the brakes, makes the brakes really strong, easy to adjust the levers, which is on both sides. I like the little touches, like the little fasteners, fairing fasteners. Little fold down pegs are exactly the same as on the XSR. There is a pillion seat underneath there should you want it. The rear tyres are Bridgestone S23Rs, but they're not the 3 compound S23Rs, they're just 1 compound. So they're made specifically for this model. The front is 1 compound, not 2 compound. So if you replace this with Bridgestone 23s, you actually get, in theory, better tyres. Yeah, nice little features. The suspension's really good. Let me wander around this side because you've got the remote preload on this side, which the standard XSR doesn't have. You've got the new clocks. You've got the new switch gear. It's pretty straightforward, pretty easy to use. The modes are pretty straightforward and easy to use. On terms of what I don't like the styling of the exhaust. It doesn't have an end cam. For me, it needs an end cam or something. It just looks a bit strange, I think, at the back. Yeah, looks a little bit odd, I think. And there's lots of people on social media going, it should have the full fairing, not the half fairing, but I disagree. It should have the half fairing. Engine is really strong, really responsive, powerful. Don't think you need any more power on the road. In terms of handling, it's quite a long wheelbase now, and a lot of weight is over the front, more than the XSR and the MT09. So it's not as wheelie prone, it's a bit more stable, but a little slower to steer, in my opinion. And also, once you switch off say anti-wheelie in sport, it switches off anti-wheelie in everything. So if you switch off traction, it switched off traction in every mode. So personally, I'd want no wheelie and no traction in sport, but still have it in rain. But once you've switched it off, it's off. You haven't got any options. You're done with. So Yamaha deliberately make out that this bike is a sporty road bike. It's not a track bike. It looks like a GP bike from the 90s or one of those sporty bikes of that era, but it's not built for the track. It's a road bike. So the rider position is sportier than, let me get this right, than the XSR900, but it's not as sporty as the R7, for example, which, to be fair, isn't that sporty to start with. So as you'd imagine, the pegs are further back, the bars are a bit lower, but I'm not breaking my wrist. We've only just started the ride, but I thought it'd be a little bit more hunched over. But you know, the bars are on top of the yoke, got the little risers, the levers are in a nice position, both are adjustable, which I don't think they are on the standard XSR. And the bodywork is, yeah, it's not just cosmetic, it's offering some wind protection. But for those who are thinking, oh my god, it's going to be like an old TZR250 or something like that, it's not. It's actually quite roomy. I think, if I remember right, the seat feels higher. I'd have to double check the specs, but when I try and get my little legs down to the ground, it definitely feels higher than I remember on the XSR. But yeah, just get into it. I would say the switchgear is the most intuitive. So a bit careful on these cold roads, but we have got the new Bridgestone 23s that I rode on the launch in South Africa, and they were good on track in South Africa, so yeah, it should be interesting to see what they're like. And it's nice to get on a bike that's got the latest generation rubber. So the indicators are a little bit different, so it's right for right, left for left, but you don't like toggle across, and then you press it again, a long press to cancel. If you give it a little press, it just does a couple of flashes, as if you was on the motorway. You know when you do your stalk, or whatever you want to call it on your car, a little bit. But if you give it a long press, it stays on for longer, and the self-cancelling. If I remember rightly, it's about 150 meters, which it can work out from the IMU, I guess. But yeah, they're just different. Don't know if I like them, don't know if I dislike them. I shall tell you at the end of the day. But they are different. And this town work is, I'm starting to do the old elbow on the fuel tank thing. Anybody who rode a bike in the 90s will know what I mean. This is where you put your elbow like on the petrol cap, you take the weight on your left arm, and then your throttle's like loose because the rider position is getting a little bit uncomfortable. But then again, in the 90s I was a teenager, and now I'm obviously not. It's really stable, but I wouldn't say it's flickable. And I remember the XSR being like really nimble, so maybe this is, maybe because I've got more weight over the front, I think the wheelbase must be longer as well, but it doesn't feel as, I mean, it's still sporty, but this is not a tiny little race bike. I like that though. Oh, I just want it to open up. Come on, let's get out of these. Let's stop following the surf and go find some roads. Oh no, we're off to a racetrack! So come away from the track without actual track impressions because we didn't get to do full laps. But yeah, the rubber was good. The specially designed 23s for this bike, so they're not the multiple compound 23s. Steering felt good, ABS not too intrusive. Bit weird that the hazard lights flash when you jump on the brakes and it feels the ABS kick in. But all round, like, it's kind of like a medium track day bike. Yeah, I'd like to just soften it up a bit. I think the forks are just a tad too firm. But this road is not the best because there's a lot of tree roots. You can feel them when you're going through. But it is more fun. Yamaha to combine the XSR900 with kind of like an MT-09 hybrid and put some retro bodywork on, it was kind of going to be a no-brainer. It was always going to be a success. I know dealers in the UK already took orders before they even announced the price, and trying to get hold of one of these bikes is going to be pretty hard work, I think, because they're going to just fly off the shelf with just over 12,500. yes, it's got multiple rider aids that are excellent, it's got multiple rider modes, it's got smooth power delivery, it sounds good. Suspension, a little bit firm for me. I would just open it up a little bit, make it a little bit softer. The riding position isn't that radical. It's not even as radical as an R7, so don't think it's an R6 in retro bodywork. It's not. Yamaha label this as a road bike. This is not a track bike. It's definitely a road bike. Suspension is fully adjustable, so I guess if you want to do a track day on it, you'd want to add a bit of preload, which is easily done because there's a easy access remote preload adjuster, and you'd be happy away in the kind of middle to fast group, I guess. And on the road, it's not too radical, it's reasonably comfortable, and if you remove the seat hump, you could take a pillion. But forget about the smooth engine, the torque, the power, the sound, the price, the PCP, which is about 120 quid a month. Just think about how it makes you feel. How it makes you feel when you ride it, how it makes you feel when you open the garage door and you see it. And for me, of a generation who remembers 90 Motor GP, that's what I was watching on TV with my dad and my older brother. For me, who had an FZ600 and FZRs back in the late 90s, then it's ticking a lot of boxes. I want to open the garage door and I want to see that in my garage. And I'm sure lots of other people do. But I guess it depends on your generation, your memories and where you're from. A lot of my friends were GSX-R fans and won't like this. Some of my friends are a lot older than me and younger than me and they won't remember it, or it's not their era. But if it is your era and you do remember the 90s, and you do remember that magical time when Yamaha dominated MotoGP and all those bikes that came after, like, there's parts of this that's FZR 400 RRRP, there's parts of this bike that are TZR 250, there's parts of this bike that are TRX almost. So I guess it just depends on what you remember from that era. But yeah, to combine an XSR, an MT09, put some racy bodywork on it, it was going to be a big hit. But if you want one, start running to your dealership now, because they are going to sell. Thanks for watching. If you've got any questions, fire them below, and don't forget to subscribe, click that little button, and I'll see you on the next one.